62, I'm reliably informed. Today, we will mostly be talking about the Clan War. Like, the expansion, not the storyline. And, some other stuff. A lot of recap of events. Baz, you're fiercely leafing through your notes. What's the story? What's the scoop?
I am indeed. Yeah, so I guess the kind of things we've missed, there hasn't been a lot. There's been a couple more previews of the Dominion cycle. Obviously, the Clan Wars pack has gone out, which we're going to talk about tonight. We did get an article up in the last few weeks, so all of that has been gone through, so people have had a chance to kind of look through and correct us where we were wrong, which was fantastic. So thank you for that feedback. We've also had the Texas Kodai and the Netherlands Grand Championship, which were both small enough events. I think they're around 40 players each, but kind of gave us a rough idea of what was going on. So a few surprises in there. Like Scorpion ended up winning both those events, which I don't think anyone had kind of predicted. So we're a few weeks after those, because that was at the start of February, and we're at the end of it now. So people have a bit of time to kind of digest and kind of work out what's going on. We've got this weekend, so the weekend of recording, we have the not London. It's in the Midlands somewhere. So the UK Grand Championship, and I think we're expecting about 100 players for that. So we'll be able to compare that mid-sized European event with the mid-sized US event in Texas and see how they stack up.
Alrighty.
Apart from that, I've just been looking at dragon decks for myself. I've been trying out a Bushi deck and seeing if I can get anything going with that. I'm gonna have to start putting a lot more effort into the new Summit deck that a lot of Dragon players are playing, because we've got the Irish Kodai coming up in 2 weeks. So that's something.
Indeed, Irish Kodai being held at Leprechaun Trinity College's gaming convention on March the 14th and March the 15th, because a Kodai needs to be 2 days. All right, Justin, any news yourself?
Not a huge amount, really. I have to admit, I've been kind of like holding my nose a little bit and waiting for in anticipation of the next Imperial Law document, because the environment at the moment is not a huge amount of fun. It's quite stagnant. So we have huge tower decks out of Lion and Unicorn, which tend to stomp the majority of opposition. We've got very, very nasty Dishonor out of Scorpion, and then we have a lot of clans kind of scrambling around and trying to react to those 2 poles that are, I think, pretty much the standard for power in the environment. So it's not the best metagame that we've ever had, but that said, there have been so many huge changes with the game over the last few months that even a small period of something like this was probably to be expected. So
I actually had a crazy idea for dealing with the tower decks, which requires everybody to reprint every attachment. So I think it's a marvelous idea. It's the most workable idea of all.
Or a rules change, just make every single attachment restricted by rule.
Well, basically, I would say that just have every character is capped at 2 attachments, and then add the unrestricted trait, which allows you to ignore that cap, to the handful of attachments that should have it.
Yeah.
Do it like that.
Like this isn't the first time in the environment that we've had tower decks.
No, it isn't.
Like this is,
but it keeps happening.
Purely a power level of the cards that have come out.
But it's the first time in the environment where we've had power decks that can stack multiple move in and straighten effects, allowing them to be in literally every single conflict in a turn if they want to be.
Yeah,
and that's where the problem is that you have this massive tower just appearing in every single conflict, and if you don't have the cards to deal with that, then you are just shut out of the game, and you sit there as your opponent just grinds down your provinces and controls the game completely, which is it's not a fun situation to face.
Yeah.
And in fairness, I mean, there are ways to deal with it, and I think every clan has to deal with it. But we're kind of in that situation, I think, where the environment gets stretched in different directions so much that like you have to, if you're in a position where you have to dedicate so much of your deck toward beating towers, then you've got Scorpion in the wings who just go, well, you've dedicated a bunch of cards to beating towers, and now I'm going to dishonor you out in 2 to 3 turns. So then you also have to have ways of dealing with Scorpion as well. And I think it's just one of those situations where decks get so distended by trying to cover two very, very potent archetypes that, yeah, the
then
environment
Crab.
gets flattened out. And obviously you've got Crab, you've got Crowded Swarm as well. So we're in a situation where there are multiple different archetypes that you have to try and meta against if you're going to beat them because they're that powerful. And so it just means that, like I said, for a lot of, in terms of the meta, it tends to flatten the meta out quite a little bit, quite a lot into kind of these main decks and everybody else trying to react to them. And it's not ideal. It's not an ideal situation. But that said, I mean, for all that, there are signs of genuine hope. Like there's a huge range of deck building possibilities. If you ignore the kind of the really top tier stuff, the range of deck building possibilities at the moment is absolutely immense for just about every clan. Obviously, some have it a little bit worse than others. Acknowledging Dragon's situation and Crane's, I think, a little bit as well. They seem to have relatively few archetypes to draw on at the moment. But yeah, it's just one of those situations. So hopefully, like I said, the next Imperial Law document will, maybe soften Scorpion Dishonor and the tower decks just a little bit, and that should allow a huge amount of variety to creep back into the environment. So fingers crossed.
Now on Scorpion, I've seen John talk about this a few times, because Scorpion have come up several times and they get beaten back down. Like they are always the number one target for any of the restriction or ban lists, and often rightfully so. They're an incredibly powerful clan. But when it comes down to it, they've just got these core cards and this fixed archetype that they do and they do well, that runs counter to the strategy that the rest, like basically they end up playing a different game, and they can continue playing that with just kind of the core effects that they have. So every time they get hit, it pulls them down a bit, but they never get below mid range, which honestly is where isn't a bad thing. Like a clan not getting nerfed to the ground is a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting any changes to be able to pull them out of that, because I think that's kind of how the game is played. The effects, the dishonor effects that are at core to not having a defense, someone defending and stuff like that. I mean, the Dominion cycle, as we can see already, is giving us a few more cards that cancel effects and straighten more cards, and we're seeing wonderful things like discard your entire hand and draw 5 new cards instead. Good luck defending. So yeah, I think what we're looking at now, which is a decent number of archetypes, but a couple of powerful cards that are dominating the environment. I think we're probably looking at this for the next while with a crapshoot of hoping your clan gets those power cards until the cycle floats around. There's a couple more bans, a couple more restrictions, and then we see what new power cards come down the line, and you hope your clan gets a few of those.
Yeah, that's possible as well. Yeah, but anyway, as I said, like the metagame at the moment isn't inspiring. But like I said, if you kind of take the top archetypes out of the equation and take a look at what you can construct kind of in terms of tier 2 archetypes, there's a huge variety of really interesting builds that you can make. So if Tyler and the playtesters can find a way to kind of just tone down the really top tier stuff, then there's a huge kind of bounty to be reached there in terms of interesting gameplay and interesting deck design. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. I do think if you hit even just Fan of Command, I think things get a bit better, and then you can target a few more nerfs after that and bring everything back into rough compliance.
The Quartermaster way of the Crab as well is too much in some games.
It's brutal, but yeah, I mean, people don't play it though. They don't play.
Oh, they do.
I play it, and John plays it, but they run one assassination in their decks. Most people.
Don't think so anymore. I think the standard is 2. I think people are beginning to cop on how devastating it is, especially
Like,
with the towers being prevalent.
yeah, it breaks the back on the tower. Well, not definitely, but it slows the tower down because they've got to make sure they've got 2 mooks out or have at least a mook ready to play. They can't just go ha ha ha. I'm fine for everything. Ha ha ha. Because you are not fine for everything. Also, we've got the next week. The Dominion cycle starts. It is out on. It should be at your friendly local game shop next week,
Yep.
and I think that's going to come out without too many problems, or at least the first half will. Uh, with what's happening in China at the moment, I anticipate supply issues for stuff later in the year. I think Gen Con could be a bit of a bizarre experience, for example. I think stuff could really slow down. Because stuff has slowed down for the last few months, so you only
And
see that effect a few months down the road.
yeah, and they've been relatively poor in the last few years in getting it right as well. Like even minor delays have cut them off. I think last reckoning the expectation was that the last pack of the Dominion cycle would not be legal for Gen Con, but we'd expect it to be legal for the next one round. Now, given that they shipped the entire cycle to one of the stores last time around, it might be a case that all of this is printed and sitting in a
Yeah,
warehouse. They got it all done at once. So that might not be the case, but I think it would be pretty standard for FFG that Worlds will not have the last pack legal for whatever clan needs it the most with all of the good cards in it.
yeah. But I think whatever cycle is coming after Dominion might be in trouble, if I had to guess. If I had to guess. All right. Well, enough talking about cards we don't have. Let's talk about the cards we do have. And I'm not doing the treaties of the Clan War, but let's start with the clan stuff. And the first one's a quickie. Heat a Secret Keeper. It's a multiplayer card. Shall we move on?
Yep.
Cool. Now, this guy is actually interesting. One of the forgotten, or this girl, one of the forgotten. 2 cost, 4 military, 0 politics. Bushi Berserker, 0 glory. You cannot place fate on this character when it is played from your provinces. Reaction after an opponent passes on declaring a conflict. If that opponent controls any ready characters, put 1 fate on this character. I really like this character. It's a good chunky Berserker at a low price. 4 military for 2 cost is exceptional. And between crab save and other stuff, you'll often be able to keep her around for a turn or 2. So I really like this, and it's Berserker as well, which has Wicked Tetsubo can put into play, and just generally kind of nice.
Yeah, and like if you make say 2 of this turn 1 and you pass your first conflict, what's your opponent going to do? Attack, pass.
Probably attack politics, to be honest, but it's grand. It's grand. Like 0 politics rather than zip is mostly better. There are situations in which zip is better than 0, but being able to defend at all or attack at all can sometimes be critical depending on what you're doing. So I quite like this one. Sake House Smuggler, 2 cost crab character, 1 military, 2 politics, 0 glory, courtier merchant. Support, another player may help pay this card's fate cost. Action, during the conflict phase, choose another player until the end of the phase. The next non-event card you play and the next non-event card that player plays each has its cost to play reduced by 1. So in multiplayer, this is pretty strong. In single player, it's standard play. It's a discount that might also help your opponent. If you want another courtier, I think it's okay. Justin, any strong opinions?
Yeah, I actually quite like this. I mean, the thing is, like, you can build your deck to take advantage of this, and be sure to take advantage of this. Whereas, the opportunity cost for your opponent is always going to be higher. They may not have a card that they can effectively play. They may not have a card they want to play after this ability goes off. So while generally I would super frown at any kind of symmetrical card, I think this one actually has enough upside to be worth playing. At the very worst, you're kind of coming off even. which obviously isn't fantastic. But I think there's, yeah, like I said, I think there's enough upside here to make this at least worth trying out. And obviously, if you're looking for more courtiers in your crab deck, then yeah, this is probably a decent ad on that basis alone.
Alrighty. Cooney Silencer, 3 cost character, 4 military, 2 politics, 1 glory, monk. Reaction: after this character wins a conflict as the defender, your opponent must return a ring from his or her claimed ring pool to the unclaimed ring pool. From a cost point of view, good value. Monk trait is not much for Crab, but I suppose you might be able to cobble some stuff together now. And kind of a multiplayer-ish ability, but does have some utility in regular play. Like, great stat line, but that's the third 4-2 for 3 we have. So I think you probably play 2 of them. Intimidating Hida is pretty generically strong, and the Sensei is pretty good if you're playing holdings. So yeah. Baz, any thoughts on the monkishness of this one? You're muted again, Baz.
I think this is the second monk that Crab have, right?
I think so, yeah.
It is quite nice to see it gets better around. And in addition, Crab decks have played some of the Dragon Monk cards before as a splash. Not necessarily the most powerful of options, but it was one that was there when Crab didn't actually have any monks. So with this edition, it might become a little bit more viable, which is cool to see. Obviously, we'll have to get a few more monk cards out, and it can be tricky utilizing it with a limited pool. But yeah, it's good to see. I like it.
We definitely have Warden of the Damned and this guy. Is there one more? There might be.
Not that I'm aware of yet, at least.
All right, on to the holdings. Roadside Inn, 0 province strength. Inn. Reaction: after the fate phase begins, choose a character. Each opponent may give you 1 honor and choose a character. Each player who chose a character in this way moves 1 fate from their fate pool to their chosen character if able. I really like this in the Dishonor deck. I really like it. I think it gives you more staying power and gives your opponent a tough choice to give you honor or not, or let you have some more board position and economy for effectively the cost of a holding slot. I'm a big fan. I think it puts a little more pressure on with the Dishonor deck, which hasn't come to the fore because I think everyone's been very excited to play with the Crab Weenie deck, but I definitely think it's there waiting for a deck for someone to put something together. Justin?
Yeah, I think, Dishonor is the only place where this is ever going to have a home, simply because you're in a situation where it could benefit your opponent significantly more than it benefits you. And yeah, so in Dishonor, absolutely. Anywhere else, no, absolutely not. It's never going to beat out Iron Line in kind of standard Conquest.
No. On to the Crane, Chancellor's Aid, 1 cost, 1/1. 1 glory. Courtier, Imperial, Interrupt. When this character leaves play, choose a player. Each opponent may give you 1 honor and choose a player. Each chosen player discards 1 card from their hand. Okay. So, hey, when he goes away, I guess, some honor may hand over and then someone may discard a card. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think he's really good in Dishonor again.
Yeah.
So, like, in a Dishonor matchup, you're typically going to both be bidding. So, essentially, your opponent is either forced to give you an honor, which is never a good situation to be in if you're close to being dishonored out, or they don't get a draw phase, which is also terrifically bad news most of the time. So, yeah, in a Dishonor deck, I think he absolutely has a place, and it's an interrupt as well. So, if it doesn't suit you to use this, you don't have to. So, yeah, in the right deck, I think he's pretty good.
Does he do anything in duel? When he leaves play, each opponent may give you 1 honor and choose a player. Each chosen player discards 1 card from their hand.
But I mean,
you choose a player.
So you choose a player at the start.
Yeah.
So they're discarding a card for sure. Okay. So they can give you an honor to make you discard a card as well.
Right. Cool.
But if they're giving you an honor, then that's effectively a 2-card swing.
Yeah.
So
reasonable.
Yeah.
Dazzling Duelist, 2 cost, 2 military, 2 politics, 2 glory. The Crane are very symmetrical in this set. 2 after 1 1 1 1. Bushi Duelist. Action. During a conflict, initiate a military duel against a character your opponent controls of their choice. Resolve the duel. The controller of the duel's loser cannot claim rings during this conflict. Again, a bit of a multiplayer flavor. You'll still get the elemental effect, but you won't get to take the ring for glory count or for stuff that requires you to have the ring. So it is a duel on a stick, I suppose, if you have ways to do that, but with the removal of the Murmura's Daisho, I mean, that's not going to be as big a thing anymore. Baz, any thoughts?
It's really good. I mean, it's for Kayun Kikita. It's a duel on a stick, as you say, which means it is someone that you can get honored up. It is like the other option that they have is Brass Samurai, which is very similar in a certain regard, like same cost, an easy way to honor up. But with the Brass Samurai, you have to be defending alone, whereas the Dazzling Duelist, you don't. It does mean that if they're attacking in for a ring, you can win this duel, then that ring is back in play for you, so you can actually then attack and try claim it yourself. And I imagine, yeah, I mean, so you could actually use that offensively yourself if you wanted. Like, losing that duel means you can resolve the ring, but you can't claim the ring, putting it back, and then you could attack again a second time, maybe. That might be a bit of a niche case. But yeah, no, this is a really, really good character for Crane. But specifically for the Kyuden Kita deck.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's basically a 4/4 for 2. You know, once you take Kyuden Kikita into account, you know, you don't care whether you win or lose the duel particularly. You just bump his stats, get an honored character on the board. He's pretty super. I like him a lot.
And it is worth mentioning for the Crane players that it is, you only get to use Kikita once per turn. So it's not like you'll get 6 of these and honor up all 6 of them. But it's still really good.
Solid as hell. Perfect guest. 2 cost, 1 military, 3 politics, 1 glory. Courtier. Action. Choose another player. That player gains control of this character and cannot trigger this ability this round. Is there enough poison pen stuff to load up on this guy and hurl him at your opponent, Paz?
Probably not.
No.
I mean, the obvious one is dishonor the character and then send him over, and that's a 1 point honor loss. Yeah, I mean, it's a 1/3 courtier.
Pretty strictly a multiplayer only card, I think.
Yeah, I think so. All right, Masterpiece Painter. 3 cost, 2 military, 4 politics, 1 glory. Courtier. Support. Another player may help play this card's fate cost. Action. Choose any number of players. Each of those players reveals the top card of their conflict deck. Until the end of the phase, each of those players may play the revealed card as if it were in their hand. So, kind of like the old Crane holding the base set. But symmetrical.
This card is super good.
Yeah. Oh, it's not symmetrical. You can just choose yourself. That's pretty good.
Just choose yourself.
Yep. And 3 costs for a 2/4. Like, those stats aren't necessarily great, but 4 cost is what you'd normally spend for that 2/4, and you're getting it for 3 instead.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like 2/4 for 3 is already decent value, and she effectively draws you a card.
Yeah.
So I think she's great.
Legit. Negotiation table. Crane holding. +1 province strength. Action. In turn order, each opponent may select 1 or more of the following. Draw a card. Choose and ready a character. Gain 1 fate. Then, you do each option once for each opponent that selected that option.
Multiplayer only.
Yeah.
Does nothing in single player.
Yeah.
Your
really feels
opponent.
Like
it's a May ability, so your opponent will only choose one of those if it benefits them more than it benefits you. So.
Yeah, seems like it. All right, into the dragon. So, Inventive Muramoto, who is wildly out of scale here, but I can fix that later. 1 cost, 1 military, 1 politics, 1 glory. Bushi Duelist. If you have claimed the water ring, choose an attachment in your discard pile. Play that attachment on this character, paying all costs. So, Baz, is that good enough?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, he's a 1 cost Bushi, so that's something that Dragon didn't have before. There aren't really Bushi decks at the moment. I have stuck this guy into a deck and I've enjoyed him. You know, if you get water, you get to stick a fine katana on him or something like that, which is good. There are a couple of circumstances kind of big powerful things that you could get. Like in theory, if you're playing smoke, that'd be good. More likely, one of the ancestral cards is a good one to slap on them because you can. It'll essentially go back to your hand and you can put it on something else later. It's not an amazing card, but it's quite a cool card and can do some fun things. I think it maybe didn't necessarily need that water clause because that makes it a little bit trickier. Like if it, and maybe it'd be a bit too good if you could take a fine katana from your discard and just put it on, but you need to have that fine katana in your discard pile already. But it means basically you end up having to attack, having to claim a ring, and then you get to use the ability to put something down. So often when you're in that circumstance, you kind of wanted to attack with the Inventive Muramoto first, but he would have been bad out. But yeah, he's a fine character. He will see play in decks. He's decent.
Alrighty. Agasha Prodigy, 2 cost, 2 military, 1 politics, 1 glory. Shigenja Fire. Action, choose a character. Each opponent may give you 1 honor and choose a character. Each player that chose a character discards the top card of their conflict deck. Each attachment a player discards this way is put into play attached to the character that player chose. Wow, that's spin the wheel, make a deal.
Yeah, it's a bit random.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you like what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a deck that stacks the odds. And maybe if you have some ways at looking at what the top of your deck is, but when you're playing those dice, you even got to factor in stuff like Cloud of Mind. This is a Shigenja, so Cloud of Mind is a wonderful attachment to put in your deck, but you can end up accidentally clouding one of your own characters, which isn't great. Yeah, and like Truth Seeker is a character that kind of comes to mind for this because it lets you rearrange the top few cards of your deck, which would give you a better chance of using this, which would be good. But that's a Courtier, and this is a Shigenja, and we've just seen a Bushi, and we'll be seeing a Monk soon. So another classic case of Dragon being spread about all over the place. So I mean, it's nice, it's cute. An attachment heavy deck, you might consider playing it, but it's not. It's not an Agasha Swordsmith.
No, really is not. But Agasha Swordsmith's too good, so maybe that stuff's worked out. All right, 2 costs.
Okay.
Ascetic of the North Wall, 2 military, 2 politics, 1 glory. Monkitude. If you have claimed the Earth Ring, this character cannot lose fate or be discarded outside the fate phase.
If he didn't have the Earth Clause, this would be a cute character that would probably see play. It would be a 2 cost 2/2 who couldn't be assassinated, and that's it. Nothing else. You couldn't. Can you even void him? Yeah, you couldn't void him. But as is that elemental clause seems to have been tacked on just to make it a multiplayer card, which, as far as I can see, just kills it. Like as I said, the main purpose is to not get assassinated, and if you have to capture a ring first to do that,
I disagree slightly there, Baz. I think actually he'd be potentially broken without the elemental clause. You just buy this guy, put as much fate as you can possibly afford on him, and then pile every single attachment in the universe on top of him, and there's no way of getting rid of him, probably for the rest of the game. So yeah, it's just one of those.
I mean, what else is there out there apart from assassination that people are using for
Way of the Crab?
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like there's all the kill stuff as well. There's I Can Swim, Noble Sacrifice, Duel to the Death. I mean,
either way, we can agree that he's not really playable as is.
No, as is, no, he's definitely not. But I think by removing the elemental clause, you'd actually make him broken. So it's just one of those kind of unfortunate card designs that falls between 2 chairs and disappoints.
Yeah, he's too good to be bad, or too bad to be good.
Yeah,
just in that unpleasant spot where he's just not going to be any use. Mindful Warrior, 3 costs, 3 military, 2 politics, 1 glory. Bushi. After this character wins a conflict, choose a ring in your unclaimed ring pool. Switch that ring with a ring claimed in one of your provinces, gaining all fate on it. Shall we just skip over as multiplayer stuff?
This card is junk.
Yeah. All right. Alchemical Laboratory. +1 province strength laboratory. While you have claimed the fire ring, each attachment you control on another player's character gains ancestral. How much is Cloud the Mind worth for you?
You could splash Scorpion and play a lot
Yeah.
of poison.
Not that one.
Poison.
But even then, you're still waiting for a holding to flip up before
Yeah.
it's just a bit too random.
It's a bit cheeky.
So again, it is primarily a multiplayer card. It's unless we get some kind of holding tutor card that allows you to pull stuff out of your deck on command. I'm not sure this will ever be consistent enough.
And again, even after you play those cards and you've got this holding in play, you still have to capture the firing.
Yes. Yep. So that's a lot. That's a lot of strike going against it.
It is a bit of a whole yes, if this and then if then statements.
Yeah.
They're not.
It's and kind of once again the dragon cards are overall rather underwhelming and disappointing. There's
that's Dragon's focus at the moment, right?
Unfortunately, it does seem to be.
They're suffering from the early days of everything being too good. You know.
No, we still have all those cards. We still suck.
Yeah. All right. Back onto the Lion Clan. 1 cost, a coma message runner. 1 military, 1 politics, 1 glory. Courtier, support. Wow. Action. For each player, choose up to 1 face down card in that player's provinces. Turn each chosen card face up. So it lets you see 1 face down card in your province and 1 face down card in your opponent's province. All right. Yeah. Is that all right? Seems all right.
Like it's a cheap courtier mostly,
Yeah.
so that's the benefit for Line.
Yeah, pretty much. Righteous Akodo, 1 cost, 2 military, 0 glory. Bushi. This character gets +2 military when attacking or defending a province with 2 or more rings claimed on it. So multiplayer. Do the stats recommend anything more than that? Doesn't feel like it.
Well, it's still a 1 cost.
It's a 1 cost 2 military character. Yeah.
Battle Aspirant, 2 cost, 3 military, 0 politics, 2 glory. Bushi. After this character is declared as an attacker in a military conflict, choose a character your opponent controls without covert. The chosen character must be declared as a defender in this conflict if able. This guy seems fabulous. Or girl. But seems fabulous regardless.
Yeah, like really, really good.
Yeah. In fact, kind of horseshit, I would say.
Like, hey, you there, defend. But I don't want to defend.
It's not even an action.
Yeah.
It's
and if you've got 2 of them, if you got 2 of them, wow, your opponent's turn is just completely out of whack.
Yeah.
And it's a 3/0 with 2 glory for 2 cost.
Like this really kind of harpoon was usually on a 4-coster. Like the Kikita.
No, you're thinking of the Scorpion. Scorpion was a 4-coster. The Crane one is a 3-cost.
Yeah. But like this on a 2.
Doji Challenger, it's 3-cost. Yeah. Honestly, I think this card is far too good.
Really feels like it. Like between this and the like, you know, just all their straighten and all their other stuff, I mean, you could really make someone's life unpleasant.
This does feel like we're still in the Lion push.
Yeah.
That unfortunately design didn't know when to say stop, and we might be seeing Lion cards for a few more sets before it finally tapers.
Yeah. Very strong.
Yeah, but this is very strong.
Strongest.
Not a lot of positives.
Yeah, strongest I've seen in this set so far.
Yeah.
By some distance. Medium of the Living Soul, 2 cost, 1 military, 2 politics, 1 glory. Shigenja Water. Action. During a conflict, choose a participating character until the end of the conflict that character gains. Reaction. After you resolve a ring effect during a conflict in which this character is participating, remove 1 fate from this character, resolve that effect again. Doesn't that seem like some kind of honor rocket shenanigans?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean it's Tuturi's ability on a slightly smaller, more distributable body essentially, but at a higher cost. Obviously, the cost of removing fate.
But it's removing
I
fate
mean,
from another character, right? Because you do
from another character.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, the cost is pretty significant, but the tempo implications can be absolutely enormous. Like double resolving water can have catastrophic implications for an opponent if they're attempting to defend, or if they have to critically defend another critical conflict that turn. Double resolving void can take a tower off the board. Yeah, and like you said, you've got the honor rocket implication with double resolving air. So yeah, I mean, double resolve earth. 2 card
And
swing.
the big thing is you don't have to win a conflict. You just need to resolve a ring. So any other effects that let you resolve a ring, such as Kami Unleashed, will let you react to this.
Yeah. So
actually, that means you can attack air, Kami Unleashed with air, and then react with the medium for air, and then presumably win the conflict for air.
Yep. Yeah. And so interesting card with
strong.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's strong in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Not like
and it's not going to slot into the existing deck, so it's a card that's probably going to go in the binder for a while till the current decks taper off.
Yeah.
And then it'll come out and do something cool.
Yeah. So I like it.
3 cost Bushido Adherent, 4 military, 2 politics, 2 glory, Bushi, support. Action. During a conflict in which this character is participating, choose a participating character, honor that character, your opponent draws a card. I think they'll like the stat line. Lion had a yen for anyone with 4 printed military because of Way of the Lion. This guy can honor himself if need be, or another character. Your opponent gets a card draw, but that might be all right.
Yeah, I mean, often a Way of the Crane will be better than most of the cards your opponent controls.
Yeah. Well, I think that guy's good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 6/4 on command, which is pretty damn fine.
It's pretty good
and
in a 3-coster
character as well. Yeah,
pretty good in a 3-coster.
And great with stand your ground. He can just keep on standing his ground if this is the guy you want to, or he can continually, ensure that a specific character stands their ground turn after turn after turn. So
absolutely,
he's good.
Expert Interpreter, 1 cost, 0 military, 2 politics, 1 glory, Courtier Scholar. Reaction: after the conflict phase begins, choose a ring. Each opponent may give you 1 honor and choose a ring. During each conflict in which one of the chosen ring is contested, characters cannot enter play.
So yeah, I mean, the big thing is he's a 1 cost 0/2 courtier. Phoenix have up to this point they've only had 1 other 1 cost courtier and a burgeoning courtier deck. So he's very welcome from that point of view. As most courtier decks kind of tend to skew a bit toward dishonor, then the fact that he costs your opponent an honor to duplicate the ability is probably going to work out in your favor than it's not. And his ability is essentially the complement to Kaido Nabakai, who bows everybody in the conflict and stops people moving in. And this guy stops people playing characters. So yeah, he's mainly a 0/2 courtier for 1 with an ability that has some utility and might be useful in the game.
If your opponent picks the ability, all they're doing is giving you another ring in which characters cannot enter play. So you're probably gearing up for it and you're ready for it because you've triggered the reaction. So your opponent should really never give you 1 honor to trigger it again because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's very possible. So yeah, he's perfectly serviceable. I mean, nothing special or spectacular, but fine.
Yeah, like solid, but yeah. Isawa Pilgrim, 2 cost, 2 military, 2 politics, 2 glory, another one of the 4 2s. Shigenja, water, pride, after it wins a conflict honor it, after it loses a conflict dishonor it. Action: Choose another player who has claimed the Water Ring. That player gains control of this character. Is the Assault Pilgrim worth it just for the stat line?
I was fairly down in this character when I initially saw it, but I've played her a few times, and she's actually so generally you'll play her in a deck with Elegant Tessons and things like that. So you go in, win a conflict, she honors up to a 4, and then you Elegant Tesson, and you've got a 5/5 either to defend or to prosecute another conflict. So in aggressive decks, she's actually surprisingly good. Like, she puts an awful lot of pressure on very, very early. And the action, if she loses a conflict and gets dishonored and she's leaving play, you just make sure your opponent gets you just attack with the Water Ring potentially. And if you lose it, then that's fine. Your opponent claims the Water Ring. She gets honored. You just give it to your opponent. So yeah, she's actually much, much better than I thought initially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, yeah, in really aggressive decks, I think she's well worth the slot actually. So
All right. Mediator of Hostilities. 2 cost, 1 military, 2 politics, 1 glory. Courtier. After a player passes on declaring a conflict, draw a card. Limit twice per round.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
On my first read through, I did not realize that you could be the person who passes to draw those.
Yeah. So she's the counterpart to the pacifist philosopher, who is a -1 for 2, who gives you a fate every time a player passes a conflict. So I've kind of tinkered with putting this together. It hasn't kind of coalesced into a respectable deck yet, but it's interesting, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there are times when you'll get, the mediator and the pacifist on the board at the same time, and you'll be passing conflicts left and right and drawing cards and getting fate and doing all kinds of crazy things. And then you'll bite Sakune, and you'll be controlling rings and using Sakune to resolve rings, and basically not getting involved in any kind of conflicts whatsoever, and still having really active, kind of fun, enjoyable for you turns. So there might be a deck there at some stage. Right now, I would say no, but she's a 2/1 courtier that can turn a bad situation into a reasonable situation. She might see play on her own. I'm not sure.
All right. Serene Seer. 3 cost, 3 military, 3 politics, 2 glory. Shigenja Void. Support. Action. For each opponent that has claimed the Void Ring, choose a face-down province that player controls. Look at each chosen province.
Garbage.
Yeah, garbage.
Just terrible.
Garbage.
There's no reason a Phoenix player would ever play this card.
Yeah. Hallowed Ground. +0 province strength. Each opponent who has claimed the Air Ring loses 1 honor when they lose a conflict unopposed. The Earth Ring cannot claim rings they were claimed on provinces they break. And the Fire Ring, the ring cannot put fate on characters they play.
So absolutely almost 100% a multiplayer card, but absolutely brutal in multiplayer. Like, unbelievably punishing in multiplayer.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Just a huge target.
Yeah.
But it's a multiplayer card.
Shepherd of Visages. 1 cost, 1 military, 1 politics, 1 glory. Shigenja Air. During a conflict, choose a participating character. That character gets -2 glory until the end of the conflict.
It's good.
Just decent. I mean, like a 1/1 for 1 Shigenja is always welcome. The ability is decent in the right deck. Either it is the skill penalties your Dishonored character suffer, or it deces the bonuses opponent's honored characters. So it's just decent utility, good cost point, very desirable Shigenja keyword. Yeah, so decent card.
Grandio. Shishiro Actor. 2 costs, 0 military, 0 politics, 0 glory. Whenever I see that stat line, I'm like, oh, something broken's about to happen. But let's take a look. During a
Something broken
conflict
needs to happen.
in which this character is participating, choose a non-unique character you do not control. This character becomes a copy of that character until the end of the conflict. Ah, so it's entirely dependent on how good your opponent is at the game.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. Copy, 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 copy.
Like you're paying a lot for the hope that your opponent will have a decent non-unique. Nah, may as well just play a good card instead.
Vice Proprietor. 1 military, 2 cost, 1 military, 2 politics, 1 glory. Courtier Merchant. Action. During a conflict which this character is participating, dishonor it. Choose an opponent, and that opponent chooses a participate character you do not control. Bow that character. It's a bow.
Speaking of horseshit characters, this guy is way off the top end of the power level. It's ridiculous.
You do get to pick who gets bowed, but still, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, for 2 character, like it's really really powerful, this ability. You know, it's like outright bow is pretty rare in this game, and yeah, here's a 2-cost guy that just has it built in. The self dishonor is a bit of a pain. It does drop him down to a 0/1, but Scorpion have ways of making use of dishonored characters. So just a super character, really powerful.
And one of the big things about this character as well is as soon as there's 1, and obviously 2 is going to make it worse, on the board, if you're attacking it, Scorpion, you need to attack with 2 characters, or this is going to happen, and that can happen multiple times because Scorpion have ways of redirecting that dishonor or making it a benefit to themselves. So yeah, I think this is a really good card, and a courtier to boot.
Absolutely. Master Whisperer. 3 cost, 2 military, 3 politics, 1 glory. Courtier support. Action. Choose a player. That player discards 3 cards in their hand and draws 3 cards. I can see that being annoying.
That's really, really good.
Superb.
Yep.
Because you discard first and then you draw. So if you're on 0 cards, well, I won't discard any cards, but I will draw those 3 cards. Thank you very much.
Yep. And Paneki's old art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
awesome artwork.
One of Drew Breaker's best pieces. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, this guy is the better. Yeah, he's just a much better favored niece, and favored niece was already great.
It's way better to have discard 3, then draw 3, than draw 3, discard 3. There you go. There you go.
I think it would actually generally be better to have draw 3 than discard 3. I think
depends on the deck.
Yeah, I mean, having 0 cards in hand, or 1 card in hand, or 2 cards in hand is maybe more of an edge case. But that said, like in Scorpion draw 1, see that happening quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just fantastic card. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised that the discard 3 isn't part of the cost. So that it has to be fulfilled.
No.
Well, there's the Akai style bid 1 deck, and then there's the Palumbo style bid 5 deck. So there's kind of polar opposite in dishonors. They may have forgotten about the bid 1 deck because it's not very popular over in the US, and assumed that the discard 3 first and draw 3 was a weaker version of the flip side, because it would be in the Palumbo deck where you've got a stack full of cards and then you're flipping it that way.
All right, Acclaimed Gatehouse.
Yeah. Fantastic.
+1 province strength. Action. During conflict, dishonor a friendly participating character and choose an unclaimed ring. Switch the contested ring with the chosen ring. So, screw you, man. We're not doing the one you wanted to do. Yeah, that seems decent.
Well, it needs a flip, and you need to have a dishonored participating character.
No, you dishonor them. You just need a character.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it's a holding is what goes against this the most. Like having it face up in play at the right time. The ability is pretty powerful, or can be, but I think consistency actually is the thing that's going to probably keep this out of deck.
Yeah, as an event card, you definitely consider it to be a very cool event card, but yeah, not reliable enough.
I tried Elemental Fury early on, and the thing that annoyed me was people would attack into me with Elemental Fury, and I was going, you picked the worst ring to run against me here, so I can't do anything about it. I don't have another ring. I think every other ring would be better for you in this position. But the game has matured. It is possible that people pick the correct ring now, especially against Dishonor. So yeah.
But I mean, the other thing against this is that it is information as well. It's
Yeah.
not like running into Elemental Fury and having your well laid plans suddenly laid waste by the fickle finger of fate. Like a player will see this on the table and know what's coming, so it can be planned around. So yeah, I think there's too many. I don't think there's anything major against this card, but I think there are maybe just a few too many minor strikes against it to prevent it. That'll prevent it from seeing play.
I mean, I guess the best use for it is to attack, claim some fate off a ring, then switch them, dishonoring your character for use with Kayun Bayushi afterwards, or something like that. But yeah, no, I don't particularly.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
On to the Unicorn. 1 cost, Altan Sarnay's Vanguard. 2 military, 0 politics, Bushi cavalry, 1 glory. During each conflict against a province with 1 or more rings claimed on it, this character cannot be bowed by card or ring effects. All that is going for this one is it's a 1 cost, 2 military cavalry card.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you can cavalry reserves it out. I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it's a really big deal for HMT. HMT HMT, like the number of that is still thirsting for 1 cost characters with medium military scores. So yeah, on that basis alone, like I think Altan Sarnay's Vanguard will see play in HMT, and potentially in Swarm decks as well of any stripe. But it's a good card. It's kind of one of those kind of deceptive cards, but I think it'll make it into decks for sure.
Yep. Merchant of Curiosities. 1 cost, 1 military, 1 politics, 1 glory. Courtier Merchant. Action. Discard a card from your hand. Each opponent may give you 1 honor and discard a card from their hand. Each player who discarded a card this way draws 1 card. Ooh.
It's like a mini Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty good.
So I'd question what the Unicorn would be trying to draw into. That's the only thing.
Cavalry reserves.
Cav reserves and all their other multiple cost. Yeah, I like with this is the score. Like Unicorn aren't really well known for exerting honor pressure on an opponent, so your opponent's probably going to benefit just as much from this if they want to. But I suppose on the flip side, Unicorn do kind of drop in honor or sail close to the wind on honor in certain situations, so maybe it could work from that perspective. Like it's a curious card. It's a curious card. I'm not sure what kind of archetype it actually fits into.
Yeah,
Alright.
I mean, if this was red, this was Scorpion, it would be a stunning card. It would amazingly instantly go into a deck. But yeah, Unicorn don't have that deck.
Alright.
Yeah, I think that's the.
Ooh, Endless Plain Skirmisher. 3 military, 0 glory, 1 or 0 politics, 1 glory. Bushi cavalry. Action. During a conflict, choose a player. Move this character to the conflict on that player's side. Seems legit. With Phantom Command out, seems legit.
With the current tower cards, yeah, and works for Take Up Command as well.
Just move me in. Yep.
Yeah, just move in, and you can move into your opponent's side if you want them to break your upholding or something like that to guarantee that they do.
Absolutely.
Good card.
Absolutely. Waystation Trader. 2 cost, 1 military, 2 politics, 0 glory. Courtier Gaijin Merchant Limited. After a province is revealed during a conflict in which this character is participating, choose an opponent. Take 1 fate from that opponent.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is it's a great ability. I'd love to have it on a different character.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're starting to see the beginnings of kind of Unicorn honor pressure, or Unicorn honor maybe. But Like now you've got a unicorn honor / dishonor or honor or dishonor deck that really wants to reveal provinces. So is it a Shiro Shinjo deck? Yeah, it's just a bit of a head scratcher as to where it
Particularly
actually
in
fits.
turn 1 and 2, people love to hold on to one fate. And if someone's on one fate and someone's on 0 fate, it's a huge difference.
Oh yeah, and like
Yeah.
at one point we sat down and had a look at what was in conflict decks, and it was something like 50% of your cards were free, 50% of your cards cost
Yeah.
1 or more. So that's half of a hand shut down if you go from 1 to 0. Like
Yeah.
that is a big. And it's not just they lose 1; it's you take 1, so your options significantly increase. Yeah, I mean the ability's good, and I mean just looking through this pack or this box, it's a lot of courtiers.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there is a courtier deck that someone needs to sit down and do.
But even
Obviously, they're not going to do it until the deck they have is taken away from them.
even in the Weenie Blitz deck, I kind of like that. Like the stat line's kind of wrong for it, but you can still go fish it out because it's cheap. Like the one who dumpster dives top 5 for a character will play her, and she's a nasty card to get played. You know, and if she sticks around for a turn and you buy a second one, like that's Pain Train. Now, also on the limited thing, is put into play count as played for limited? Or if you put a card into play, does it get around limited?
I believe it does, because can be played is different from put into play.
Yeah. So if you get one of her off the guy who looks at the top 5 and puts a 2-cost character into play, and you buy one,
that's fine.
Then like your opponent's in a really tight. Now that's a high roll, but that's a really tight spot for an opponent. That's a really tight spot.
But I mean, I don't know what it's like for the crab, but things are tight when I play decks, and having one fade is pretty typical. Like more than one fade is a good turn if you've come out with that much life.
But it means your hand's definitely half your hand's definitely dead. And if you're playing against a blitzy deck and they're just going 2 guys, like this turn 2 in, take the next turn in again, 2 for politics in there, like that's.
But the question is it worth taking up a slot in your dynasty and paying 2 fate for this 1/2 character to get that effect? Maybe you're right. Maybe it is.
But I'm just looking at it going, it's kind of playing the Shiro Shinju sort of, I reveal a lot of provinces, I get more money, sort of thing going on. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, maybe it's not meant for Shiro Shinjo though, because this character really becomes dead really quickly in Shiro Shinjo.
Yeah. I think this is more of a blitzy character that looks like it's meant to be a Shiro Shinjo character.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
All right. Fourth Reich.
General denial.
Yeah, I'd like, if you can get someone down to 0 fate, it's really strong. I think people underestimate that sometimes.
And I guess if you can trigger it once, you're paying 1 cost for a 1/2 and denying your opponent a fate.
Yeah. Fourth Reich Ida, 3 cost, 1 military, 3 politics, courtier, cavalry, merchant, 1 glory, support. Action. During conflict in which this character is participating, choose a character with printed cost 3 or lower. Ready that character. If you control that character, discard 1 card from your hand.
So that immediately works with that endless plane skirmisher we're looking before.
Yeah. And tower support as well. It's a good tower support card.
If they manage to bow it, just straighten it. Well, that's to be 3 costs or lower, but still, that's not the end of the world.
Well, I mean, it could be a tower itself.
Yeah.
It could be the tower because it can straighten itself. So just pile up the Fourth Reich Ide with his as many swords and angly bits as he carry, and
one of the weird things is typically your towers tend to be military towers, whereas this is a 3 politics courtier rather than a.
True,
but yeah,
I suppose there are pluses and minuses to that. Insofar as he's already well equipped or he's better equipped for dealing with political conflicts as well. But you are a bit behind on the military strength.
Yep. Sheikah Matchmaker. We're on to the independents. Oh, the Deer Clan.
There are a lot of questions about the Deer Clan. I know RPG gurus who have looked at it are like, why? This wasn't here before. We don't really understand what their purpose is or what they're doing. They just have really good character stats, apparently, if you want to generate a character. So there you go.
Yeah, what I don't like about them is they kind of step on 2 or 3 families' job already. That you already had the Doji as matchmakers, and then if you didn't have the Doji, you had the Imperial families like the Atomo who would deliberately put stuff together. Whereas
So I'm gonna assume that there is some upcoming stuff that will
one would hope.
eventually round out the deer nicely, if that ever sees print. But yeah, right now the deer, they really feel like someone's fan fiction that they
Yeah,
managed to sneak into the game. Unfortunately,
they're also ninjas, aren't they? They're ninjas no one knows about or something.
no, I think that's the cat clan, which I'm fully supportive of.
Yeah, but that's the one note clans are fine, but these guys have something else. They've got some stupid magic or something that nobody knows about them. Yeah, nobody knows about them, but they're also famous matchmakers.
Yeah.
It's this really weird stuff.
And they can't marry for love or something, even
Oh,
though they're constantly trying to get everybody else to marry for love.
you don't marry for love and rock.
Anyway, I think the actual flavor
Oh,
of this card is
card.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like, the actual flavor of this is amazing.
The flavor's fabulous. It will not see play.
Yeah.
So
But this
wanna add
will
that, like-
absolutely see play. This goes straight into Phoenix Bird, which have been crying out for more 1-cost Shigenja with non-0/0 stuff. So the matchmaker goes straight into those decks. So she will see play there.
All right.
I will say in multiplayer, I do not like the support idea. It's cute, but I mean, fate is tight. Why are you paying fate for your enemy? Yeah, do not like. Anyway, moving on.
Absolutely. Cunning Confident, another generic character. 2 cost, 1 military, 2 politics, 1 glory, courtier, Fox clan. When participating in a conflict against a player with more claimed rings than you, this character gets +2 politics. It's alright.
That's really good. Like, it's a 2-cost character that has 4 politics every second turn.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like, not like, I think definitely a filler character, but high quality filler.
Yeah, like, fine. I'm just not that super excited by it, but yeah, it's grand. Insightful Gatekeeper, 2 cost, 2 military, 1 politics, 1 glory, Bushi Dragonfly clan. When participating in conflict against a player who has more claimed rings than you, this character gets +2 military, so it's the military mirror.
Yep.
Fine. Again, fine, basically. Not super exciting, but fine. And then Venerable Fortunist. 3 cost, 3 military, 3 politics, 1 glory, Monk Brotherhood. Action: return a ring in your claimed ring pool that matches the element of your role to the unclaimed ring pool. Gain 2 fate.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So it reminds me in certain ways of the Seeker Initiative, which is what, like a 2-cost 1/1. When you get the ring, you get to look at top 5 cards. Like, it's a bonkers. It's an amazing ability, but no one plays it because the stats are so poor. In this case, the ability is really, really good. The having to bounce it back to your unclaimed pool can actually be really good. Like, you can attack and win a ring, and then wait, and then when you want to attack again, you can return that ring back and attack it again. So that's that. You can change that negative into a positive. It does work, I hate to say, with Shirakatsuki. It means if you have a Venerable Fortunist sitting around, anytime your opponent plays the card you name, you get to then discard it and get 2 fate instantly. So forcing your opponent to choose between you getting 2 fate and playing that card is pretty cool. And obviously for Dragon, it's a monk. But also for everyone else, it's a monk. So if Crab want to pursue that monk deck, this is another monk character that they can drop in. But yeah, it's not lighting any fires anywhere, but it's a nice character that I quite like.
All right. And we're breaking the back on this one. We're on to the halfway point, or a little over the halfway point, and we're on to the other side of the deck. Oh, phew. And we're back to some crab cards. Kobo Ichikai Jujitsu. 0-cost attachment, plus X military, plus 0 politics. Technique, restricted. X is equal to the greatest number of rings claimed by a single opponent, 1 influence value. This is Oni any good in multiplayer. I will say the Koboichi Kai is the crab martial art of kicking people in joints. So I am glad to see on the art that the character is kicking an Oni in the joint because it's designed to fight bigger
It
things than
is
you, and it's really
it
cool.
is worth noting that you can learn how to kick an Oni in the knee twice, but not three
No,
times. Yeah,
you've only got two legs, Baz. Come on,
makes perfect sense.
only two
Speaking
legs.
of which, like that crab's left leg is enormous. Like, look at the size of that thing.
Never skip leg day, Justin. That's like
Yeah,
skipping
and
ear
I'm
day.
talking about that just to think, like, if that person is 6 feet tall and their legs are about 4.5.
Look, acromyalgia is untreatable in Rokugan.
It's a serious condition.
You know. From the sublime, however, to the ridiculous, zero cost event, common cause. Action: sacrifice a friendly character and choose another character. Ready the chosen character. If that character is controlled by another player, honor it. 2 influence. Don't care about that last cause. Sacking a guy to ready another guy is fabulous.
Yeah, this is an amazing card. Like truly amazing.
Incredible.
Simple, super powerful, just super handy. Messes with your opponent's maths totally all the time. Just going, well, actually, I'll sack and straighten this guy. I can
Yeah.
do it during conflict if you got a bow off. I can do it before conflict, have another defender or an attacker. Super strong, super strong.
So
Throw
I
away
was
that wasted bowed weenie that you bought and used, and he's now no longer useful. Away he goes. Your guy you actually care about readies. Strong, very strong.
so at the moment in Service to My Lord is one of the big cards. And honestly, I think Common Cause is better. Because you're able to attack with that one cost weenie and then sacrifice him later. Whereas with In Service to My Lord, he has to be ready to bow. But one of the points made by some of the Dragon players was if you're playing Common Cause, then Crab are just going to nail you with another assassination or Way to Crab. So this is kind of a twofer for Crab. If other players start playing Common Cause, it makes them easier to nail with Way of the Crab. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Absolutely. The Crashing Wave, 2 cost event. Support. Reaction. After an attack is declared against a province, but before the province is revealed, choose an eligible province you control, move the conflict to the chosen province and reveal it. If able, you are now the defending player if you were not already. 3 influence. It really feels on the conflict cards that support adds a cost. It goes from costing 1 to costing 2. It
What?
really feels like that.
No. So this is like a once-off surprise talisman for Crab.
It is.
In fairness, Talisman is a surprise anyway because it always gets played in the conflict.
This is it is
So
subtly different to Talisman in that you can go no, you're not revealing that province, you're revealing this one instead first, which can be handy. But just at 2 cost is expensive.
yeah,
Still,
yeah,
it's a good card in Clan.
It is.
yeah,
It
it
is.
seems like a stronghold saver, and it does mean that if Talisman is a core part of your strategy, can now look to other clan splashes because you've got the wave in clan. So
Yep.
Yeah, or just save some influence. If I was Crab, I would play one of this in a deck, just slot it in, and yeah, it's there for that last province, or if there's a key province that you want to trigger early in the game, and you happen to have all this extra fate, great.
Like in Dishonor, and if you're playing Before the Throne and your opponent goes into your province stronghold and you're like, actually let's fight this big attack on Before the Throne instead. And
yep,
you're on low honor, so happy days. So yeah, no, it's good, but it's too's expensive. Two's expensive. So yeah. Fulfill your duty. Speaking of 2 being expensive, action.
Joke.
During a conflict, sacrifice a friendly character. The attached province gets plus X strength until the end of the conflict, where X is the sacrificed character's military skill, including modifiers. 3 influence. Why does this cost 2?
Yeah. So I mean, Crab have some great cards, but
Yeah.
they've also got this entire chain of cards that are all about boosting province strength or saving provinces. That all involve spending tons of fate, sacrificing your guys, and defending. It's like,
Bonsai's
why?
free. Bonsai's free. Like that's my problem here. Bonsai's basically free. There's so many free pumps, and this is super not a free pump. You gotta sacrifice someone that means something to do. Just junk. Junk. A game of letters, zero cost event. Action during a political conflict, choose a participating character and a status token on a character controlled by a different player. If you choose an honored status token, honor the chosen character. If you choose a dishonored status token, dishonor the chosen character. All right.
Good card.
Yeah.
Yeah, honor one of your own dudes or dishonor one of theirs if they got someone dishonored.
Yeah.
It's just really strong.
Yeah.
Nope.
So
No, it is different. So you need to have, you've got one of your guys dishonored, and then you dishonor one of theirs.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, court games is good with good reason, and this has a different set of conditions, but is very similar in those regards, and isn't requiring one per conflict.
Yep, you can play multiples.
Yeah,
so
bunch. 2 influence. It's a good splash for Scorpion.
Yes, definitely.
Favorable alliance. X cost action support. Action. Set aside cards on the top of up to 2 conflict decks, yours and that of the player who supports you, until X cards are set aside. Those cards are face up and out of play. Both you and the players who supports you may play those cards as if they were in your hand. Does that hang around forever?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. So it's not in your hand, but you pay X draw X, kind of.
Yeah. Where this is good, if you can say it's good, is in the 2v2. Yeah. And I mean, even then, it's just fun because you both get to share a pool of cards, which might have some interesting combos if you get down to it, but it's still super expensive.
Yeah, one fate for one card is
too much.
Yep, much too
Far
much.
too much.
Cultured Facade. 1 cost event. Action during a conflict until the end of the conflict. Each participating character cannot be chosen as target of an event played by a player whose honor bid is higher than that of the character's controller. Right.
It's just really bad.
Yeah.
It's another dial bid thing, so you're never going to be sure, even in a dueling. And yeah, I don't know.
So I mean, you can try set it up in a duel. Like you can go for the duel, and wait, hold on, who's on a bit higher? Oh, so you need your opponent a bit higher.
Yeah, you got to be 1 to their X plus 1.
Yeah. Okay. And then you pay 1 fate. Okay. Never mind. Let's move on.
It's so situational. So many hoops to jump through. It's not good.
Return the offense. 1 cost. Action. During a conflict, initiate a political duel between 2 characters controlled by different players, even if you do not control either of them. Resolve the duel. Until the end of the conflict, the duel's winner does not bow as a result of conflict resolution, and the duel's loser cannot be readied by card effects.
I think it's good. I think it's really good.
Super good. I really like it.
So you want to get win the duel, bow the guy, and be like, ha ha ha.
Oh yeah, I think Kikita's final stance is what you need to compare it against.
Yeah.
Which was if you've already won a duel. Actually, I'm not sure. Most of the grain cards don't say won a duel. They say was in a duel. But anyway, so in this case, you get the duel inbuilt, so you don't have to do any prep. It's a political duel, which I guess the Crane are pretty good at. You do have a benefit against your opponent insofar as they cannot use any of the straighten effects, which are quite prevalent at the moment. So right now, this could slot in and take down some of those tower decks that are moving your guys in. Although I guess they'll have to, if they can straighten first and then move in later, they're not going to be affected by that. And yeah, you don't bow at the end of it. So like the big thing for this is you get your big tower, defend, duel with return the offense, honor up with Kyud and Kikita, and then you're back in action for the next conflict straight away. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Onto the dragon. Inscribed Tanto. 0 cost, +1 military, +0 politics. Weapon. While you have claimed the Void Ring, attached character is immune to opponent's ring effects. 1 influence. It's a non-restricted weapon.
This 0 cost +1/+0 is the best dragon card in the set.
Woo.
Trombone sound.
Woo.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's good. The Knit Master is back in play. That's what we were playing Pathfinder's Blade for all along. It doesn't have the trigger, but I mean, this trigger isn't terrible. You win Void, and this character is now immune to opponent ring effects. So if you have it on a tower, you can claim the Void Ring as your first conflict, and they're not going to void you back. They're not going to dishonor you. So, you're not going to get fire ringed, I guess, or water ringed, because anyway.
Something. Dead or dying or something.
It's a 0 cost +1/+0 non-restricted weapon. That's enough. But it does rely on the Knit Master. I'm playing a Knit Master deck currently, and if my opponent's not ready for a Knit Master, as it always was, it can just be a butcher. Turn 2 game can be over because I've broken their stronghold. But if they have even a modicum of defense ready, or if I overcommit, or there are a lot of things that can go wrong with that, and that only happens when you draw it. So, I mean, these are all problems that the same Dragon deck has had all along, but this puts it back on the table, which is nice.
Contemplative Wisdom. 2 cost, 0 military, +2 politics, technique, restricted, support. Attached character gains action. During a conflict, return a ring from your claimed ring pool to the unclaimed ring pool. Choose a participating character. That character gains each of this character's printed abilities until the end of the conflict. 3 influence. Let us pause for a moment to consider the Contemplative Wisdom.
Contemplative Wisdom.
Oh. Isn't that contemplative? Or
Should
palliative, yeah. Shouldn't it be
Should be
Shouldn't it be contemplative?
Contemplative. Yeah, it's a typo. It's a
All right.
typo. They have
Well, we
to-
must consider that now. There we go. We're done.
Yeah.
Baz, what
This is
printed
not a good
ability?
card.
What printed ability is worth having a 2 cost attachment on a guy, which is restricted?
You can right now you play Way of the Dragon anyway, which
Yes.
essentially for a board does the same thing. The advantage with this is, I guess, if you have Ratsugu, for example, great ability, and you put this on some other character, then you can use it from wherever. Around. It's you're able to move the ability around. Basically, is the kind of key part.
The cost is so high, though.
Yep.
Return a ring from your claimed ring pool to the unclaimed ring pool. So you have to have already won a conflict, and you have to be in a position where you can put it back, so that even that cost is that a cost that high is still to your benefit. It's dead in the first conflict, where you really want your high cost attachments to be making an impact. Really, I don't know. This kind of sums up everything that's wrong with Drag at the moment. I think this card.
Yeah, it's trying to be clever and flavorful, and just completely fails on every regard in being playable.
And it's spelling its name.
Yeah, which
it's Dragon in a nutshell. It's overcomplicated, meant to be look wise, but turns out looking like a fool.
I mean, it honestly, the typo makes me wonder if anyone ever read the Dragon cards.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sweat the typo. That happens in.
It absolutely does. It's just funny.
It's just one of those things that they slip through sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just it happens to be on a Dragon card, so it feels like.
And I absolutely understand that, but so many of these cards that we're seeing, and so many of these abilities, if you actually play the game, you realize almost straight away that it's never going to see play. And I understand that there is a design philosophy typically with Magic where printing cards that will never see play is a done thing, and they have a place, but I don't see that in an LCG, and I don't see that in Alpha War. But unfortunately, here we are.
Yep. Unquestioned Heritage, 0 cost event. Action. If you have claimed the Air Ring, choose an attachment on a character you control, move that attachment to another character, 2 influence. Did this need...
And unfortunately, here we are.
Did this need the earring requirement of this?
Flavorful and makes it multiplayer because the Enlightenment one you have rings captured.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
you could have taken it out and it probably still wouldn't see play.
Yeah. 3
I mean,
costs. Oh, sorry.
this is sorry, like a card like this, like I don't know why they aren't using the elemental requirements as so the elemental clauses as kickers rather than
Yeah.
prerequisites. So move an attachment, and if you've got the ear ring, gain an honor, or draw a card, or do something else vaguely interesting. But
Like, it feels like there's design space in kickers of having the ring claimed and stuff that lets you maybe stuff you put into play, and when I resolve the fire ring, instead of doing X, I can do Y. Or when I resolve the
yeah,
fire ring, do this as well. Like that seems like design space you could put into the game in terms of like powerful rituals or something, or an army base
yeah.
camp or
I
something
mean,
of going, if I have this, I have additional options now.
Yeah.
yeah. The
And
thing is that if you have claimed the X ring, should 100% be a Phoenix focus because Phoenix already
Yeah.
have the cards to support that. Dragon don't, and that puts an absolutely brutal burden on like on a Dragon player ever playing these cards. You know,
and just
this because this says you have to have a conflict. You have to have gone for the air ring, which may not have been the ring you wanted to go for that turn. And then if you've done that, you get to perform this really kind of niche ability. It's kind of baffling. I have to say.
and just talking about kickers, we're going to get through this box, and once we get to the second last card, we're going to see the first instance of a kicker.
Yeah.
This is an entire set focused on multiplayer. Almost every card should have had a kicker. It should have been if you've got 2 or more opponents, have a benefit, draw a card, honor up, something. But instead, the design approach for multiplayer seems to have been if you've already captured a ring. Like it's there was definitely a missed opportunity, unfortunately, and yeah, I definitely feel the ball has been dropped.
Impossible Koan. 3 costs event support. Action during conflict sets each character's base military and base political skills to 1 until the end of the conflict. 3 influence. Flavor text. So it's good if you got a lot of pumps. It's base rather than current. So
yeah, but I mean, right now, like the tower decks don't really care. You know, you're going to lose maybe 2 military on it. The swarm decks, for example, the Krabbits deck
yeah.
will lose a chunk, but a large majority of its force is coming from bonuses anyway. Yeah, I mean that's 3 costs for not much effect,
it seems like
really.
It seems like it really butchers mid-range decks with no attachment.
Yeah.
But
the deck that no one's worried
tower
about.
Tower decks will go, well, you gave me a -2/-2, and they'll get over it. And the Krabbits decks will go, most of my guys are like 1/1, or they have they're 1/1 or 1/2 or 2/1, so I'm not losing that much anyway.
Similar with Scorpion Dishonor or Scorpion decks, they're like, oh wow, 1, that's a bonus for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this only ever will impact decks that you shouldn't be worried about in the first place.
Certainly decks that aren't a force in the environment at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not a great selection from the Dragon cards, unfortunately. Here.
No, it's depressingly poor, actually.
We start out with a winner. Take up command. 0 cost, 0 +0 military +0 politics condition. Attached character gains the commander trait and action during a conflict in which this character is participating. Choose a Bushi character you control, printed cost 2 or lower. Ready that character, move it to the conflict, 1 influence. Crazy good.
Yeah, in this environment where commander, move in, and straighten is good, I don't know where this is going to find a spot.
Yeah, just savage.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's a
a lot of lion decks. Yeah, a lot of lion decks were playing Seal of the Lion to get commander, and this card is just a strict up. And it will also straighten and move in a character that you can then use to Thingy. Oh God, straighten neck.
In service, my lord, or
Sorry.
HMT.
Yeah,
or,
there we go. In service to my lord. There we go.
There's a bunch of things. Or you could just take that 3/4 character and use them to crush stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So it's just this is just super good. Super good.
Super good. Zero cost event, Call to War. Action, choose a Bushi character. Each opponent may give you 1 honor and choose a Bushi character. Place 1 fate on each chosen character. 3 influence.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really solid.
You've got Bushi in your line deck. You know what that Shigenja or that Monk deck or that Berserker deck doesn't have? Doesn't have Bushi.
Yeah.
So this is just good omen that works all the time. Obviously, there can be situations where your opponent will have a better Bushi than you will have. And in that case, just don't play it.
Yeah. But also, Lion often like being on higher honor. So
Yes,
yeah,
they do.
sure. Give me an honor, lads. Sure, give me an honor. I'll be good with it.
Yeah.
1 cost
And
event.
sorry. There are a bunch of tactical implications for this card as well. Like if someone's coming at you with the Ring of Water to bow a significant Bushi, well, you just wait till they commit to that conflict, go all in to win it, and then you put a fate on that Bushi and laugh maniacally as they're watering bound. Your Akodo Toturi then romps across the board and annihilates things. So.
Speaking of all that move in and straighten and using guys in multiple conflicts and staying straightened after a military conflict, let's talk about All Out Assault. 1 cost event, tactic, reaction. After the conflict phase begins, each time a player has the opportunity to declare an attack this phase, they must attack with as many of their characters as are able to influence. Like, this really messes with your opponent. And especially if they don't have the resilience that the commander deck is in terms of, yeah, this guy straightens, or yeah, this guy gets to go into another conflict. I mean, this is really nasty.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, it's getting to the point where I'm starting to scratch my head whenever I see Lion cards. Is there a secret Lion designer somewhere that's just churning out?
They were weak.
Incredibly potent combo pieces, but they've been weak for a while, but they have been improving stuff. But it just seems like, when you take a look at the cards that Lion have been getting this set again, they're all incredibly strong, and I think we're just going to find ourselves in a situation in a couple of months' time where Lion are just dominant, and there's very little that can be done about them. And then, it'll get to the Imperial Law document, and a whole bunch of stuff will get restricted listed. And yeah, this is one of the concerns I've always had with the restricted list, is that it's used as a design tool rather than a measure of last resort. But here we are. So.
And it's just one of those cards that when someone plays it, like whatever you're thinking about doing that turn has just changed, or you've got to reassess your whole turn, and that's rough. That is rough.
Yeah, especially when the tower deck just goes, doesn't change what I'm doing.
Yep.
Everybody in, and then the tower is still there to defend and do its thing.
Yep. Absolutely.
For the rest of the turn. So yeah.
Privilege position, 2 cost. Reaction. After honor dials are revealed during an honor bid, each opponent who bid higher than you cannot declare more than 1 conflict against you this round. 2 influence. Well, it's good in Dishonor. I'm not sure how much else Lion stuff is good in Dishonor, but that's good in Dishonor.
Yeah, I think it's good for an honor deck as well.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably more important for Lion honor than it is for any kind of Dishonor.
Yeah.
Like, it's 1 fewer chance to lose an honor for an unopposed conflict. And it doesn't stop you from declaring 2 conflicts. So, like, it's got a hefty fate cost, but the effect is really interesting. Like, I quite like this card.
It's got that annoying clause, though, where you have to play it before you've had the chance to draw. Yeah. So it's one of those ones where you draw your card, and then you look at it and you're like, okay, I can't play this for another full turn, which is a real kicker.
Absolutely.
I suppose. But it's a powerful effect, so I think that's probably fine. This is going to be good on any turn of the game. Like, if an opponent is banking on breaking your stronghold on, say, the following turn, and they've purchased characters with, they've purchased characters with appropriate fate to the achievement of that goal, and then they can only declare one conflict against you. That could have a huge impact on the game. So.
Yeah.
Both the
hostility.
HMTs hate this. They hate this.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
everyone should,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, I feel like, but this is a really interesting and good card for a very specific archetype. I mean,
Yeah.
could
So
it see
your HMD still gets to declare 3 conflicts, but your opponent only gets to declare 1. Not fair.
But against that, you've got the kind of the opportunity cost of including this in your deck, of drawing it at the right time, etc., etc. So I think this card is interesting and fine. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, it might be one of the kind of cards that you play one of just to try swing a match that you're getting a bit behind in or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you can afford to lose 1 province and then swing back for 2.
Yeah.
All right. Phoenix time. Peacemaker's Blade. 1 cost, +3 military, +1 politics. Weapon. This attachment cannot be placed on an attacking character. Restricted. Attached character cannot be declared as an attacker. 1 influence. It's alright.
Yeah, it's fine. Again, I mean, in an environment with an awful lot of move in and straighten, this card is way less good than it would otherwise be. But like Phoenix Courtiers do have a ton of send home effects. Well, when I say a ton, they've got 2 printed send home effects, and then they've got Harmonize as well as a fate option if you want to go that direction as well. So Peacemaker's Blade with enough send home is actually kind of close to a hard lockout on attacking. And yeah, it makes attacking more difficult. Like attacking into this is much more difficult because it's a big block of stats. But if you're playing the Phoenix Pacifist deck, like this is a card that could definitely see play in time. But I just don't think the environment is right for it now.
Yeah. Trick of the Light. 0 cost event. Spell, air. Action. During a conflict, choose a participating character. Until the end of the conflict, treat that character as if its printed text box were blank, except for traits. 2 influence.
Yeah, right. Super cool. Yeah,
right.
this is a great card.
Yeah.
It's definitely worse than Cloud the Mind, but it's free and can be recycled in cuteness. So the shortcomings more than justify the fact that this is a 0 cost event as opposed to a 1 cost attachment. Just really good.
Yeah,
that's really a big one. Like you, Cloud the Mind not being able to be discarded for a Kunosawa. Like you played a slightly weaker win to get that bit of advantage. That's pretty cool. Or if you want to, you can double up on them just to truly lock down options.
Yeah, absolutely. And it means that a lot of the times, especially in kind of like the Phoenix Bird decks, the only attachments that deck was playing was Cloud the Mind, and now it can run attachment. So.
Appeal to Sympathy. 2 cost event. Support. Interrupt. When the effects of an event would initiate, cancel those effects and put that event on top of its owner's conflict deck. 2 cost. So that's an appropriately costed negate. It's pretty strong.
And it's
with no conditions.
This is a bad card. It doesn't make it into competitive decks. It's too expensive and isn't a permanent answer, and that's just too many strikes again.
Oh, I just need to get some mill on there, Justin. Put that on top and mill a card off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like honestly, I think one of this in a Phoenix deck would be perfect. Like you don't always fulfill the conditions for censure or for Voice of Honor is always on essentially, but like the cancels can be really strong, and 2 costs is a lot. But essentially a non-conditional cancel that at the right moment could win you the game could be important. Obviously, finding a slot for that, and I certainly wouldn't play more than one of them. But yeah, I think.
You see, I think Voice of Honor and Forged Edict are way undercosted, and
agreed.
This is probably a more appropriately costed one. You know. Yeah, we decided to run a bit later today. Well, 24 hours later, to be honest.
Yeah, just kind of basically adult lives kind of clashing and getting But actually, going back to Owen's earlier point that support is basically a one fate cost tax on every card. If this card cost one fate, then I think it would be a perfectly balanced card and might actually see. No, actually, at one fate, I
It
think
would
this
see a
would
massive
see.
amount of play.
I'm not sure. No, I don't think it would see a massive amount of play. I think it would see play as a one. Certainly, if I was building Phoenix decks at one fate cost, I would play this as a one of. I think any higher than that, and you run the risk of having too many of them in your hand, you're forced to play them early, and you really haven't achieved an awful lot.
At zero cost, it will be busted.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
it's zero cost completely broken. Like zero cost can't just be like zero cost negates
with no conditions. That the only thing that puts at the top of your opponent's conflict deck, but weirdly that can actually be beneficial. Like this is one of the few ways to cancel in service of my lord. And it means Mitsu, for example, can't recycle things, or Kayunasawa, interestingly, cannot recycle things out again. I think at one cost it would be super, super strong. I think at two cost you're having to make serious decisions, but it's all about the opportunity and whether it's worth what you're canceling. So
I can guarantee you, Baz, at two cost it's unplayable. It's just not good enough. At one cost, but there's just no way that this makes it into a fixed deck.
I think at one cost it would see an incredibly large amount of play.
I think it would see widespread play in low numbers.
Yeah.
It would be an automatic 3 of in every deck, and it would be horrible. That would be a terrible idea. At one cost, I think it would see 1 of, maybe 2 of.
I think it would see a lot of 2 ofs. Because it's unconditional. It is a weaker cancel, but it's that cancel right when you need it. And sometimes there's not going to be another turn, and just let me pay 1 and negate that, because sod that.
At one cost, I pay 2 copies. At one cost, I'd play 2 copies. At 2 costs, I still probably would play 1 copy, but that'll be meta dependent to make sure that there are certain cards that you just don't want to resolve, and paying 2 fate for that is worth it. How many of those cards are in the environment and whether it's worth worrying about is a situational thing. But I do think this is a card that will see some play. But I wouldn't put more than 1 in a deck.
I would be gobsmacked if this sees play, but maybe it will. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. Hot takes, disagreements.
Infinite hot takes. All right. Ramparts of Stone, 2 cost event, limited. Action. During a conflict, the attacking player must select 1. Either bow each participating character they control, or discard 3 cards from their hand. 3 influence. So big spell.
Yeah, it's good in Dishonor, but I would not play it anywhere.
I have actually had it played against me. John was testing a Phoenix Courtier.
I find it incredibly underwhelming.
Oh yeah, no, I would agree, but I did not have 3 cards in hand. It wrecked me. So it's in a low bid Courtier Dishonor
in a
style
low
deck.
bid Courtier deck.
This card shuts down a conflict.
It's just it's devastating. I think it's devastating in a Dishonor deck. That's the only place it should see play.
Yeah, definitely.
Baishi Trader, 2 cost, 3/3, 1 glory, Bushi Shinobi. When you play this character, it enters play under the control of an opponent of your choice. You may still put fate in it. This character cannot participate in conflicts against its owner. 1 influence. This seems okay value. Is just a 2 cost, 3/3.
For your opponent.
Oh wow. Okay, then junk.
It's a key clause.
It's mainly a multiplayer card with some hyper janky kind of applications. So
why doesn't this have support?
God only knows.
Who knows?
God only.
Then it would have to cost 3.
Event, imbued with shadows, 0 cost, spell air shadow. Action, lose X honor. Choose X characters, discard a status token from each of those characters. 3 influence. I like that a lot.
I wish this was a neutral card.
Yeah,
this would be great as a neutral card. It's fine for Scorpion, I think, but I'm not sure if they need it.
If you're
Well,
playing
I mean, yeah,
Dishonor, whew, that's a solid card.
it's a setup for Scorpion. So Scorpion can, yeah, they can reduce their honor, so they can trigger their strongholds. They can remove all of the dishonor tokens from their side and all the honor tokens from their opponent's side. So it's a pretty cool card for them, especially actually it might be incredibly effective in the dishonor bid one deck where often you're on tons of honor. The only difficulty will be having enough characters with status tokens to actually be able to lose all the honor you want to lose.
Well, it's also just to go, oh look, there's a Crane deck which has honored 3 guys this turn. I'm just going to spend 1 card and lose 3 honor, which kind of stings, but doesn't really, because the Crane deck isn't pressuring me on honor, and I'll get rid of each of those honor tokens.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really good.
Yeah, no voice of honors for you, sir.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Yeah, but that's a single matchup. Is it going to be that important versus Crab, for example?
No, not at all. But
or Dragon.
But between
But
between Nice and the new character, I mean, I think Scorpion can have I'll play 1 or 2 copies of this, and this is just my out for that particular matchup.
And like he does work with a 2-cost character where you dishonor him to send someone home, so that works.
Yep. Yeah. No, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I think this is a good card, but I just wish this had been a neutral card.
Yeah,
because as a neutral card, I think this card would have way more utility and actually probably would have seen quite a bit of play.
Yeah, definitely. Compelling testimony, 1 cost, support. Action. During a political conflict, choose a participating character. That character gets -4 politics until the end of the conflict, 3 influence. Seems good to me.
Card's amazing.
Seems good to me.
Yeah.
Still 1 face, but -4 is a lot.
-4 is a lot, especially in politics.
Especially politics, where there are very, very few boosts. And like, this is not to forget that Scorpion also have Castigated as well. So I'm going to -4 you, and I'm going to blow you up.
Yeah.
So
very good.
I mean, but on its own, like Compelling Testimony on its own is amazing. This is an incredible card. I mean, which is like, so, but just take a look. Like, just take a look at the quality of the Scorpion card compared to the quality of the Dragon card, or the quality of the Phoenix cards for the most part. Although the Phoenix did they got 1 good card in them.
Yeah. I mean,
but
clans that have a clear focus and design know what they're supposed to be doing, are frustratingly a background reason that they should get a great card, and that works out fine for them. So
yeah, but it's Scorpion did very well out of this set.
This is one of their weaker cards. Criminal Contacts, 1 cost. Play only if your honor bid is higher than your opponent's. Action, choose a character. Each opponent may give you 1 honor to choose a character. Discard 1 fate from each chosen character, 1 influence. That clause kills it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Yeah, you just play I Can Swim. If you're going to play a card like this, you'll play I Can Swim.
Yeah.
So this card is trash.
Yeah, it really feels like
it. The only time you trigger it is when you do that 5-1 duty bit.
Yeah. All right, onto the Unicorn. Expert Bartering, 1 cost, +1/+1 technique. Action, you may spend 1 fate. Choose another attachment. You may only choose one an opponent controls if you spent 1 fate. Switch this attachment with the chosen attachment. If you do not control the chosen attachment, exchange control of them as well. 2 cost, or 2 influence. Like, Call-Out Master in a way, a key attachment is pretty good.
So yeah, in the write-up that was done, I think it was John who commented that all limits are player specific.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you just switched around.
So they're just going to
it was worth switching around. Yeah.
So this is a battle of who has more fate. I've got more fate for you, therefore eventually I'm going to drain you of fate and steal what I want.
So does the action reset when you do it?
Well, it's limited per player. So each player gets to trigger it once,
Yeah.
essentially.
Oh god, I know this card is garbage then.
Yeah.
Oh, if it reset every time it exchanged control, then maybe. But if it's just one player, then yeah. So so it just reads both players lose a fate.
Yeah.
Right.
No, one player loses 2 fate because he had to pay the expert bartering in the first place.
Not so good at bartering after
Oh, no,
all,
so
my
no,
friend.
you spend one on the expert bartering, then you spend another to switch it, and then they spend one to switch it back.
Yeah. The only other thing you can do about it is you can
So
actually swap around. If you got a good attachment you need to move around, you can move your attachment around yourself for free, basically.
true. Is that worth 2 fate though?
Probably not, but you can do
And
it.
but it is still better than the dragon card that
Yes.
requires you to have the earring and is free.
Yes, yes. Way of the Open Hand, which is not about punching apparently. Zero cost event, philosophy, action during a conflict against a non-stronghold province. Choose a participating character you do not control. Move that character home and put 1 fate on it for influence.
So yeah,
It's
one of the
garbage.
popular. Well, no,
garbage.
one of the popular splashes for Unicorn has been strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Just to get rid of someone. That has been working out for them. And this, the non-stronghold part is the kicker, because obviously they like doing it on the stronghold. But getting rid of someone for an area province. Yeah, you're probably right. But like that one face, that's not a big deal. It's like I've crushed your province. I don't really care how much longer you're sticking around. Like,
oh yeah, no, abs, that doesn't matter. Like I was playing against one of the local guys here who was playing Unicorn and playing Way the Open Hand, and he was literally screaming at this card by the end of the game. We were, by the end of the game we had, and for the rest of the day, like he swapped it out of his deck after 2 games and just swore he was never going to play it again.
All because of non-stronghold bar.
All because non-stronghold bar. Yeah.
Diversionary maneuver, 2 cost, tactic, action. During a military conflict in which you are the attacking player, choose an eligible province not currently being attacked. Bow and move home each participating character. Move the conflict to the chosen province and reveal it if able. Move any number of ready characters you control to the conflict, then your opponent does so as well. 2 influence.
I don't know what fever dream. I mean, obviously, okay, it's a multiplayer card. It's 100% a multiplayer. The lunacy of this card in single player is it's fever dream of a card that actually achieves nothing. And rather than drive ourselves mad actually going through the implications of it, we should just skip on. It does almost nothing.
For the best. It has a very fringe plays, but just no, probably. It's just like it's so much money for.
And honestly, there had to be a simpler, better card than this.
Yeah.
In of any description. Anyway.
Hey, you know who likes charge? Join the fray.
Chags.
2 cost event. Charge likes support. Action. During a military conflict, choose a cavalry character in your province as a player. Put that character into play in the conflict on that player's side. 1 influence. Charge got banned.
Maybe the problem was it was 1 cost instead of 2 cost.
Maybe it is. Hey, Baz, you can help me pay for it. Baz, come on. Give it 1. So I can have Chags for 1 less. No.
Look forward to ruling on on a player offering or asking their opponent if they want to pay for every support card, and their opponent going, judge, like he asked every time. Well, you might want to pay sometime in the future. I really don't, judge.
He is technically correct. The best kind of correct.
The worst kind.
It's charge. So, it just costs 1 more, and it's only cavalry. We got anything else funny to say?
Like, it's a fantastic card.
Yeah.
Yeah, broken cards are broken.
Yeah.
Like, make this 5 cost, and then we won't play it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm.
It'll see play.
Kind of gobsmacked that this card was even printed. I don't know why.
Maybe I can get it right this time. This is Brian Reese disease. I can fix it. I can do free gold. It's okay. I can find a way to do it. No.
Yeah. And it's a trap we've seen lots of different designers and lots of different games.
Yeah, and
this time
like
the broken effect will be fine, and it never.
It never
like
is.
if this was like a 1 to 100 system, then maybe you could find that 48.7 costing that
Yeah.
would work. But because fate is so tight, there's always cards, especially cards like this, ones we've seen are broken already at 1 cost. You're not going to put it at 2 cost and it's going to be fine. It's going to continue to be broken. If you're putting it at 4 cost, it's probably trash.
Yeah.
And well, maybe even 3 cost, it's kind of trash. But there is no subtle magic number that you can get. It's always a binary. It's busted or it's not. And even trying boggles the mind.
All right. Hige's Sermon, 0 cost event, Heresy, limited, action. During the draw phase, each player in turn order chooses a different character they do not control. Bow each of these characters. I like this card. I like this card a lot.
Yeah, ironically, like it looks like it's there to deal with tower decks, but all the successful tower decks, because there are unsuccessful tower decks, I will tell you, are the ones using Straighten. And they may actively use cards like this to let you bow out their big guy and then straighten him later, and then bow out your best guy, and you don't have the Straighten. So, yeah, might actually go into tower decks, which is exactly what it was supposed to stop.
Yep. It's a good card, though. It's a good card.
It is a good card.
Notable, it is limited, so
yes,
it won't.
It does.
You can't do it with.
It does conflict with
those who serve,
which is sort of the first time I really feel that limited has kind of actually balanced the card at all.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
actually, I've been ragging on a bunch of different things, but actually seeing limited get used beyond the doomed Shigenja from the base set, like it is a fantastic keyword that can be used and has been neglected, and I'm delighted to see more of it.
Absolutely, good job. Seize the Day, 1 cost event. Reduce the cost to play this card by 1 if you have 2 or more opponents. Reaction: after the conflict phase begins, you become the first player.
Yeah, so this is the card I was talking about earlier. The design for it is fantastic. The effect is trash.
Yeah. All right, last card, guys. Last card. And it is Enlightenment. 5 cost event. Kiho. Action. Resolve the effect of each ring in your claimed ring pool as if you were the attacking player. Then if all 5 rings are in your claimed ring pool, you win the game. Woo!
This card drives me nuts. So
Opening
many
up
things.
some old wounds here, Baz.
Yep.
Old wounds.
No. There's other topics about Phoenix Enlightenment, but we won't get to that right now. So the 3-player multiplayer format is called Enlightenment. In that format, if you get all 5 rings, you win. Okay, so that's right out. This cannot be played in that format because you've already won if you've got all 5 rings. So there's no point playing it. There's no the winning effect isn't going to be relevant. If you are going to be playing this in any other format, you have to wing it off of your conflicts or cheesing it out some way. See a bunch of Phoenix cards, but managing to get all 5 rings is a fantastic achievement, and then it's asking you to have 5 fate as well. Honestly, this feels like they're just being. They're making a trash card because it's easier than trying to balance a card. Try to design a card that is actually good but isn't too far. Instead, we either reprint charge or we just have a trash card that'll never see play. It's frustrating. And Enlightenment of all things, like it was so fundamental and so flavorful of the old game, to see it just treated in this honestly disrespectful way is sickening.
Well, I'm gonna differ.
Sorry,
I'm gonna beg to differ.
I went too far.
No, just a little bit here. This strikes me as something of a top-down design card, where they go, right, it's Legend of the 5 Rings. We're going to have as many 5s as we possibly can. That's the reason it costs 5 fate. And now we're going to make a card that kind of tries to justify 5 fate cost. I would say that is more likely to be the direction they came from.
Like even a small tweak, like the cost is 0 but increases by the number of rings you have, or something like pay X for the number of rings you have, resolve that many rings. That way if you've got rings you can pay X to resolve those rings.
And there wouldn't be a 5 on the card, Baz. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, but I feel where you're coming from.
Why doesn't this one have support? Just saying.
Would you like to help me win the game?
Yeah.
No.
I'm sick of playing this game. Please end it for me.
But yeah, anyway, like Phoenix are the only clan that are remotely likely to ever achieve enlightenment in the current game.
Through bullshit cards, not the proper way.
Not the proper way. Through absolute bullshit cards, like secluded shrines and know the world and display of power and all that kind of janky horseshit.
Gunner's going to find a way to win this one. He's going to show up with one of these decks.
Yeah, but when we replay it and we watch the video, no one will quite understand how he did.
But the thing is, like, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to play Support of the Phoenix, because all the cards that make this, and even then, you're not going to be able to play with secluded shrines, which are really important, I think, if you're gonna try and win with this.
Now maybe there are more cards down the line, but even then, like the turn where you win all 5 rings needs to be a big setup turn, and then you have to have 5 fate left over.
And your opponent just has to, what if your opponent reads what you're doing, just goes, pass my conflict. Like, do you have 3 rings already? You don't? Well, I guess there's all your setup blown. It's,
junk.
Yeah, it is kind of.
Pretty picture. Wonderful name.
Lovely artwork. Like, beautiful art.
I'm glad
everything except the words.
I'm glad the effect is in the game. I think they should have made it a bit more achievable for the nutters who were gonna try and do it. So yeah. Alrighty. We have one other thing we want to mention. That's all of the Clan War kind of gone through and discussed. So at around 2 hours. Only other thing we want to mention is that a friend of the show, Heel Turn Games, is running their Kickstarter for the new expansion for Radiant Offline Battle Arena. We will put up a link for that, and it is a previous edition was printed, came out. This is a new expansion, plus you can get a Champions Edition, which is all the existing stuff. Very, very good simulation of the essence of playing a MOBA, except it's 1-on-1 rather than 5-on-5.
Guaranteed to have none of the issues we were talking about today.
Yeah,
the games might not be a guarantee.
The game's absolutely superb. Like, it's genuinely one of the best card games I've ever played. Huge depth of replayability, and the more heroes that are introduced into the game, the number of potential combinations of teams just increases exponentially. I think, like, that the expansions bring it up to, I think, 8 years, and that gives you roughly 2,500 possible.
And the design is like an inherent draft style, isn't it? You draft who your heroes are.
And like stuff like that. So you're like right from the very beginning, you are scheming against your opponent to try and figure out what they're doing. And the game's absolutely superb. So if you're a fan of card games, I can't recommend it highly enough. I really can't.
And we'll make sure to put a link to the Kickstarter in the notes.
So yeah, there are 2 expansions being kickstarted for a total of 6 new heroes, which I believe brings you up to 18 heroes total. So vastly increasing the draft pool.
Yep, absolutely. So it was already pretty good at 12, but at 18, I've done a little bit of play testing with it, and it's hard to describe actually how much better the game gets, and it was already a great game.
And if you kick in for that full Kickstarter thing, and because it's a draft format, can you just go there from the get-go and play with your friends? Like, they don't need to get any more cards. It's a fully contained set.
So like 1 copy of the game has enough for 2 players. So you buy 1 copy of the game, and and that will do you and a friend. sorry, there's just a Asterin is asking for a link, so there's just a link in the description there, Asterin. Yeah, and
yeah, keep an eye
just
keep an eye out on it, because I know in a lot of conventions, including the US ones, there's often someone like Spooky demoing over there.
yeah, absolutely. And like Chris Potdorf, who people know from the J, is a huge fan of the game as well.
Yep, recently won the Texas event.
Yeah, absolutely. So like this game is one that has solid appeal for a lot of L5R players. So check it out.
Absolutely. We'll have reporting from the UK Championships this weekend, and
I'll make
we'll
sure
be
to get that up on the website.
back in 2 weeks where we'll be reviewing the brand new pack, which will be out next week. And
yeah, so we should have two packs to get through next week. Or next
Should
time
we?
we record.
Will we have
So
two packs?
oh yeah, because we normally do it midweek, don't we?
Yeah. So
A month, isn't
we'll
it?
see.
It's not one a week.
it's not 1 week, it's monthly. So we'll have the new pack to talk about.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sorry.
We'll have the new pack to talk about and tournament results to
PTSD
discuss.
flashbacks to the dark days.
Yeah, that nearly broke us. Alrighty. And we'll also be talking about getting ready for the Irish Goda. So there we go. All right, guys. Thanks for coming along. See you all now.
Okay. See you, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you now.